Showtime.
Showtime.
Yes. Listen, I have a question. Are you on the carnivore diet, but still battling those pesky cravings for sugar and carbs? You're not alone. In today's episode of Meaty Mondays, we are uncovering the science behind cravings and sharing proven strategies to help you conquer them once and for all. So, if you know somebody that's on this carnivore diet, share this video. If you're on the carnivore diet and you don't have a buddy, share this video, because let us turn your buddy into a carnivore so then you have a buddy. So share this. We got some good information. I am going to kick this off to Robyn. Take it on from there, my friend.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Meaty Mondays with the Fierce Felines. I am Robyn Heron, your carnivorous grandma, and we're so excited to be back with you guys again, y'all. It's getting so close to our 1 year anniversary, and we are like so excited
Yeah.
and so thankful. So, as G said, tonight we are talking about cravings. I don't know about you, but sometimes I still do have a little craving. So, and there's a little twist on a craving that I'm going to talk about tonight. So, I'm talking about the science behind cravings. So, the fact of the matter is that sugar is highly, highly addictive. And so, our cravings, it can be one of the most challenging things and so difficult to overcome when you're starting any new diet, but carnivore as well. So cravings for sugar, even on a zero carb diet, often stem from how sugar affects the brain. So when you consume sugar, it triggers the release of a neurotransmitter called dopamine. And dopamine is a feel-good neurotransmitter. So it creates a sense of pleasure and reward. And your brain quickly learns to seek that out repeatedly. So it's the very same mechanism as becoming addicted to any substance. It creates a sense of pleasure and reward. And then over time, the sugar consumption essentially rewires the brain to expect these dopamine hits, and that reinforces your cravings. So, on a carnivore diet where we're completely and totally eliminating sugar. Now, I know that some carnivores do still use honey and stuff like that, but for the most part, carnivores are eliminating sugar. When you do that, your brain is going to struggle. Because if you think about this, and what the guy was saying on the video is that as a very young baby, what do we do when we have a baby that turns 1? We give that baby a cake, a whole cake to themselves for them to smash into. But even before that, when you're feeding your baby formula, the formula is a sugar-based product. So we've been having sugar our whole lives. Now, all of a sudden, we're telling our brain, no more. Your brain's going to rebel. So that's why you have cravings. So your brain struggles with this absence of the dopamine-driven reward cycle. Sugar is super highly addictive. So, many in the early stages of carnivore, many carnivores find themselves craving not only sweets, but also foods they also associate with dopamine release. So a lot of the highly processed foods are meant to be highly palatable and delicious and cause that same type of dopamine hit. So, so those foods that, like chips, potato chips, and those kinds of things like that do the same thing as well. So the cravings aren't just psychological, they're deeply rooted in the brain's chemistry. So your brain chemistry has been altered to be addicted to sugar. So that's how the brain chemistry is affected by sugar. My second one is around insulin sensitivity and blood sugar regulation. So another reason that you might be having cravings, it has to do with insulin and blood sugar regulation. So even when you're not consuming carbs or sugar, your body's insulin response plays a significant role in cravings. So before starting carnivore, most of us have spent years spiking our blood sugar. How many of you guys out there were told that you needed to eat 6 times a day? Give me a heart in the chat if you were told to eat 6 times a day. Every time you eat, your insulin is spiking, okay? And every time you eat carbs, your insulin is spiking. So we know now that we have been on this way of eating, that anything over like a 30 point spike in insulin is considered to be a spike. And if you think about eating carbs every 6 hours, your insulin is doing like this all day long, right? So before starting carnivore, most of us have spent years spiking our blood sugar with frequent carb intake. So over time, this leads to insulin resistance. This is a condition where the cells in the body no longer respond well to insulin. Sometimes people's bodies even stop making insulin. And that makes it harder to regulate blood sugar. So your insulin is constantly chasing after that sugar, trying to keep it down, trying to stuff those sugars into the fat cells, trying to get it out of there, because you're only supposed to have a teaspoon of sugar in your blood at any moment. And your body is tightly regulating that. So that's insulin's job, is to make sure that that sugar stays down. So when you switch to a carnivore diet, your body undergoes a period of adaptation where insulin sensitivity improves. So during that transition, your blood sugar fluctuations may still occur. And when the blood sugar fluctuates, that could cause cravings. So that could be a natural response to the body trying to stabilize itself. So it's almost if your body is signaling, we need energy fast, like you're having a blood sugar drop. And that message that you're getting from your body can trigger cravings for quick sources of glucose. So you might be like the guy in the commercial. He's a crotchety old grandma in the commercial, like until he gets a candy bar and then he turns back into a football player. Because your body is saying, I need energy fast. That triggers cravings. And so even if those cravings do not align with your body, your health goals, your body still may experience those cravings. So in time, as your blood sugar stabilizes and insulin sensitivity improves, the cravings will diminish. That is the key. Those cravings will diminish. But every time you feed the craving, you make the craving come back again. So you have to kind of stop feeding the craving in order to keep the cravings from happening. So your body becomes more efficient at using fat for fuel. And that helps reduce the need for added glucose. As we all know, those of us who are in this space and listening to a lot of people talk, your body can create all the glucose that it needs and will create all the glucose that it needs. So if you're not adding sugar in and your body needs some sugar, it will create it through a process called gluconeogenesis. All right. So, it's common to have cravings flare up as your system is recalibrating. So if you're new to all of this and you're still struggling with cravings, there is hope. All right. So my third topic is around nutrient deficiencies and electrolyte imbalances. So another important factor behind cravings on the carnivore diet relates to nutrient deficiencies and electrolytes imbalances. So as we're eliminating processed foods and focusing on animal products, the body can go through a period of adjustment. How many of us have heard of the keto flow? They can call it the carnivore flow, right? So when it comes to electrolytes like sodium, magnesium, and potassium, low levels of electrolytes. So when you go on a carnivore diet, you are going to lose inflammation. It's an anti-inflammatory way of eating. So when you flush out your inflammation through urination, you're also flushing out some of those electrolytes. And that can cause symptoms like fatigue, headaches, dizziness. It can feel like you have the flu. Now, that can be mistaken for hunger or food cravings. You're like, I don't feel good. I need a bag of chips, but you don't. That can be mistaken for food cravings. So if you're low on sodium, you might find yourself craving salty foods. And so what we say is take some Redmond real salt or some Celtic sea salt, some real salt, and put it under your tongue if you're having a salty craving. So many people feel that simply increasing their sodium intake through salt or broth significantly reduces cravings. So put that salt in your mouth if you're having a salty craving. And then also you could use bone broth as well. So I wanted to mention this other sort of different craving because sometimes I get a craving since I've been on carnivore for something like liver. I just feel like my body needs this. So in this case, your body might crave a specific nutrient-dense food like liver or beef when it's seeking certain vitamins and minerals. So if your body is a little bit depleted on certain vitamins and minerals, you might have a certain type of a craving to go along with that. So for instance, liver is one of the most nutrient-dense foods available. It's packed with iron, vitamin A, and B vitamins. So a craving for liver could indicate that your body is low on these essential nutrients and is signaling the need for them. So similarly, beef is an excellent source of zinc and high quality protein. If your body is running low on these nutrients, you may experience cravings specifically for red meat. So it's not like the sugar cravings, which are driven by dopamine and insulin, but the cravings for liver or beef are often a reflection of your body's nutritional needs. So you feeling this way because you are short on some kind of a vitamin or mineral that your body is saying, hey, I know that liver has this. And so I often get that. And about once a month, I'll have a taste for some liver. And it's like, okay, it's time to eat some liver because clearly my body is signaling that to me. It's signaling that your body is seeking to replenish itself with these vitamins, minerals, and proteins that are essential for proper function. So again, we know that there are cravings in life. We understand a little bit of the science behind those, but you need to be consistent. You need to stay consistent and stay off of the sugar. So make a commitment to yourself to not allow those cravings to overcome you or overtake you. So it says, as you continue with the carnivore diet, your body will begin to adapt to this new way of eating. Over time, cravings for sugar and carbs will fade as your brain adjusts to a new normal where dopamine is not tied to food consumption. Now that's pretty incredible. Like that, food is no longer controlling you. I don't know if you guys have been on the carnivore diet long enough to experience food freedom, but it's absolutely incredible to feel that food freedom. So your insulin sensitivity will improve, making blood sugar regulation more stable, and your nutrient stores will be replenished as you consume a variety of nutrient-dense meats. So it's important to remember that the cravings you experience, whether for sugar or nutrient foods like liver, are part of the body's adjustment process. And by staying consistent with the diet, prioritizing proper electrolytes, and listening to your body's genuine hunger signals. And that can take some time to actually learn what real hunger is, because if you've been eating 6 times a day for years, you might not even know what it feels like to be hungry anymore. So listening to your body's genuine hunger signals, you'll find that your cravings become easier to manage and they'll dissipate over time. All right, that is my section, and I think I'm turning it over to Laura.
Were you going to tell us about a craving you had? Didn't you have a craving for something? Like barbecue sauce?
Who bust me out like that? Who bust me out like that? Oh, that's so
I
wrong.
figured that you
Yes.
could tell them
So
what
today,
happened.
yeah. So today I actually made beef short ribs, and I was preparing a keto version of this for my husband. And let me tell y'all what happened to me. I was saucing his ribs, and I touched the ribs and touched my tongue. What did I do that for? So I ended up eating a little bit of barbecue sauce. And what I found was it did not make me feel good. Like it's not even been in my system long enough for me to tell, but I started choking, coughing. So there's something in that does not agree with me, but you gotta be careful because I'm fixing it, for somebody else. But I just touched my tongue with it, and that just sent me down the road. Yeah. Stay away from those dopamine hits.
Not that I was throwing you under the bus, but I thought that's a good thing to show other
Girl,
people.
you got a big tire track right here.
Me?
Yep, she threw you
because
under
I
the
ran
bus.
you over. She's like, what? Wait a minute. She's trying to clean her forehead off. So what I'm going to go over, my name is Laura. I am at Healthy Carnivore, so a registered nurse for long time, and carnivore over 5 years. It's over 2 years for Lion Diet, and not that anybody has to be Lion Diet to do carnivore. It's just what worked best for me. I feel the greatest on that. I have no itching, no any of that stuff if I avoid any of those things. So I'm just very careful with those things, and I stay full on beef, deer, and lamb and ribeye fat every day, and do just fine so far. So a lot of the cravings that we have really have more to do with like emotional things that have happened, and also habitual things that we're just used to doing. It runs in the family. The grandma cooked it this way, ate it this way, mom did it this way, all the aunties do it this way. And so we tend to get into those same ruts where we just do the same thing. This is where something I was taught in nursing school was, well, this genetic trait is going to absolutely go to the children because of this. And I'm like, well, is that true? Or is it because they eat the same way their parents did that they end up down that same road? So I think it actually has more to do with you can have a genome type that maybe you're predisposed to diabetes, just like I was, but I chose to change everything that went in my mouth and never developed diabetes. So, it's what they say is that genetics loads the gun, and your diet and the way you live, your lifestyle pulls the trigger. And I do believe that. Part of what I will say, it was very hard for me in the beginning to realize the difference between true hunger or just, am I bored? And one of the things that I did that really kind of honed it in for me is I did a fast. The first one I did was a 3-day fast. And once you do that, you get so in tune with the body. And I'm not saying this is something you should fast all the time, but I do think that starting into that fasting, you do learn what true hunger is and what boredom hunger is. And I'm going to use Kelly Hogan's slogan that if you think you're hungry, open up that fridge and grab out a cold hamburger. And if it's delicious, you're really hungry. And if it looks like I don't really need that, then you're probably not really hungry. I do think that a lot of people, my mother has this is something that she deals with, is that she has past traumas that she works with a counselor on, and she's a counselor herself. But she tends to pack on weight to protect herself so that people don't look at her, so that she's not, a sexual being to somebody else or something. And it's something that she does subliminally, and she hasn't been able to get past that. The other thing is we put so much importance on, like you were saying, the birthday party, the Thanksgiving dinners, the retirement parties, And instead of it being more about socializing with these people and spending time, it is always around the food. Everybody will get on their phones and text message, I'm bringing this in. What are you bringing? What do you bring? It's not like, what are we going to do? Do you want to do, something together? Do you want, nope. It's, what are we going to do to eat the worst possible food most of the time? So at my place of work, when they're doing a birthday party, they're like, hey, do you want to bring like loose meat hamburger? And I'm like, sure. Okay, I can handle that. Or do you want to bring like deviled eggs? I made some deviled eggs similar to like what Sandra made. And I know, geez, like they're not deviled eggs, but they were good. They were not her style. And that's okay. That's okay. She's like, I want it to taste like the original. And I understand that. I know. Another thing that can be a trigger for us is, and I don't know anybody who doesn't have some of this, is stress. Stress can just, and I was definitely a stress eater at times, and the others, I was the opposite, where if I had stress, I just shut down. So it kind of depended. Work stress, I would just eat, and especially chips and things like that, things that were not good for me. Now, divorce stress was the opposite. It stopped. I didn't want to eat food. I didn't want to think about it. So it did the opposite, but it's always good to kind of know what is triggering you. And it's where I've gotten to forcing myself to look at food as a fuel. I don't look at it as, is it pretty? Is it this? Is it that? I don't look at it that way. I just think of it as though I do the gasoline when I go to the gas station. This is fuel for my body. I want to put the best stuff in so that I allow my body to do what it needs to do and make it the easiest on my body to do it. I don't want it to have to decide, where do I send this chemical? Where do I send this dye? Where do I send, these preservatives? Another thing is boredom. So I promise you, I have no boredom. I don't know about you gals, but I don't have time to be bored anymore. I have no boredom, and I don't even watch TV. Like, everybody's like, have you seen Yellowstone? I don't even know what the hell the Yellowstone is. I don't even know what it is. I'm like, no. I'm like, what is that? I'm like, I have no idea, because I make myself stay busy. So doing my side business, making my lotions, doing things like that, connecting with people, things like that. I tried to do that. I crochet for my patients. I give each of them a blanket. So I stay busy. So I avoid that boredom. And I think having your hands busy doing something, at least for me, that has helped me not want to be constantly piecing on something. So that is something I do. Another thing is social cues. So, so many times when you're out with your friends or family, they have those comfort foods that you're used to, that you grew up with, that just reminds you of home or reminds you of a family member. That's something that it can be a little bit difficult, but if you go prepared and with the right mindset of, I'm going to do what is best for my body. I'm going to do this for me. And you have to sometimes be selfish and put yourself first so that you can get back to your health. But that's what I do when I'm in those situations. Another thing is, we've all heard of cortisol, which is produced by the adrenals that sit on top of the kidneys. So high stress will cause that cortisol to release in a higher amount than it should. You should have a cortisol spike right before you wake up, which also will sometimes cause your insulin to go up a little bit. And sometimes diabetics will see a little bit of a drop in their blood sugar. It's called the dawn effect. And so sometimes they will see that. Same thing happens in you, even if you're not diabetic, though. If you have high stress, you have high cortisol, you are going to have high insulin. And as Robyn talked about, when you have high insulin, that leads to insulin resistance, because those cells are constantly being bombarded with insulin. And at some point, they're like, I ain't listening anymore. They're like a 14-year-old. I ain't listening. Okay. So when that happens, then it causes a cascade of issues. The other thing is this causes the hunger hormones to actually kick in too when the cortisol is high. And I don't know if you've ever been stressed where you actually hear your stomach growl, but I've had that. And I'm like, I just ate. I know I'm not hungry, but it's because I'm in a stressful situation. So that can happen. It's very easy to want to go back to those comfort carb or sugar foods. But I think if every time you think about it, and that's the thing is that stop mechanism. And with my ADD or whatever, I like to just go right to the point. But sometimes it's like, nope, sit back and analyze for just a second. Are you truly hungry? Are you bored? Are you stressed? Is this just a situation that you're in that you're, not used to? Um, most often our brain does crave carb foods and sugary foods, and you'll see that if anybody on here has a loved one that has a brain disorder, whether that be Parkinson's, ALS, MS, dementia, or Alzheimer's, you will find that they crave starchy, sugary foods because their brain needs energy so fast that they know intuitively that that sugar is really a fast, energy source. It's a horrible energy source. It's filthy and it's going to make them sicker and make their disease worse, but it's just what they know and it's what their body knows. Um, so as you switch over to fat for fuel, I always try to tell my patients, think of sugar as kindling. It's just what you want to start the fire with. It lights up fast and then it's done. It's out. Where I say fat is like a piece of charcoal. It may take it a few minutes to get up to heat, but once it does, it just rolls, and it stays warm for a long time. So that's how I think about the fat and sugar between those two. Let's see. Yes, fasting. So I mentioned fasting a couple times because I do like to do some fasting. I don't think women, for the most part, should do extended fasting very often because I do think it's hard on our hormones. And I think our cortisol tends to release a little bit more than men when it comes to that. And that's not 100% that no men don't have trouble with that. I just think it tends to look like females have more trouble with that. Some of the things that you can do if you think you're going to be in a situation where it may be hard for you to control not eating those comfort foods and those things is eating before you go, or having, like you guys talk about, purse bacon. If you can eat pork rinds, take those with you. Hard boiled eggs. I take hamburger patties and put them in a Ziploc bag. I mean, all the time. And I'm like, I don't care. I'm going to sit here and eat a meat cookie. You eat, your spaghetti. That's fine. I won't talk about your food and tell you how you're making yourself sick, and you don't worry about mine. And that's usually how we go. The other thing that you can do that is good as an appetite suppressant is walking. And just even if it's like 20 minutes, just a stroll, even. I mean, this is not anything you got to go out and run, up a hill and do a marathon type. Just out walking helps to release those, chemicals that kind of like, oh, yeah, I'm not really that hungry. So that is something that you could do. Of course, adding in extra water. We all need water. Another thing that you could do, because this is kind of like going back to that mindfulness, like thinking about what we're doing for our body instead of just doing things, is making a vision board. So we all have our why. Write down your why you're doing this, but also put a vision board as to what it is you want to see. What things do you expect out of this? Even if it's nerdy, like I would do, like I want my hemoglobin A1C to look like this. I want my, glycated albumin to look like whatever it is. Come up with some kind of vision board that will help you, get to your goals. And I promise you, I have been doing this over 5 years on carnivore and 28 on keto. Prior to that, it absolutely gets easier. And I'm not trying to brag, but at 5 years, I never pass by something and think, gee, I wonder. We were just in Lexington, Kentucky, or not Lexington, Louisville. And the last day we were there, my husband went into a fudge and ice cream shop, and he got himself 2 things of fudge to bring home, which he still has because he's a moderator. I don't know how he does it, but he'll eat like a teeny tiny little mouse piece. I don't know how. And then puts it back in the fridge. I literally walked down the ice cream thing just to see their different flavors. And I was like, poison, poison, more poison. Oh, that's pretty green poison. That's cute. Because that's how I look at it. And so I do think over time, everybody will get to that point where it's not hard. So I think just being mindful and being in touch with yourself will help you. And just knowing that your health is, especially if you're the head of the household, which I'm just going to go out there, none of you men come at me, but a lot of women are the head of the household when it comes to taking care of everything in the house, for the most part. Not all, but we got to be well. I mean, if some of them are bringing up children and stuff, we need to be at our best. And so I always say putting yourself first is not putting everybody else last. It's so that you can do the best for them. So that is my spiel. G, what you got for us?
First, let me unmute myself. Oh, listen. I got to go back. Y'all know I was taking notes. Okay, so Robyn, that was a very good video. It is. That's the part I want to go back because I actually tell people I've had this actual conversation. Young lady, her mom was addicted to drugs, and I had to say, and you're addicted to sugar, but because sugar is legal, we don't really come down on that aspect of it. I said, but you lay in the bed and think about something in that refrigerator. And instead of, maybe not doing it or not going to get it, something in that cabinet, whether we cook one meal as we discuss what we're going to prepare and cook tomorrow. We've all done it. And so what I've said, to this young lady, I was like, until you can beat the sugar addiction, please don't look down on someone with a drug addiction because we're all in the same boat. Someone just told you that one was illegal and this one was legal. And so I feel that way. And let me show you what I'm talking about. It could be that molten lava cake. I'm just trying to think of things. You could hold a cup and take a sip. Wait a minute. Close your eyes, and you've eaten food like that. You've done that. The same way someone could smoke or shoot up and have that moment. You have those moments too. You someplace, matter of fact, it's so good. Oh my God, please taste this, taste it. They don't even want it, but it's so good to you. Taste this, and we'll do that. I want to talk about that. And so all of us are recovering sugar and carb addicts. We really are. It's almost like someone that was born that's a crack baby. It was not your fault. We were born into if your parent did not breastfeed, there was the milk. I literally had to ask the question, what did I eat growing up? Because I know formula wasn't around. And for us, it was pet milk.
For us, it was the K-Row syrup.
Mm-hmm. K-Row syrup sure is. Another thing that we had that you talked about, and then I'm gonna get to my part. Oh no, that's from something else. That was it up there. All right. So my portion this evening, I'm going to speak from me. One of the things, my 3 topics pretty much are the same as the ladies, but I want to talk about increased fat intake. In our Marco Polo, we have a Marco Polo group. For those that don't know, Marco Polo is an app. and it's a video exchange
Yes.
app. Well, oh, am I
We
missing
love it.
something? Huh?
No,
No,
I'm
we
just
were
saying,
just saying we love it.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay. So, yeah, so in there, um, we have different challenges, and Robyn, our motivator, brought in last month to increase our fat. It was just as simple as that. And so everybody kind of sort of got in their mind whether it was a stick of butter, like for instance, Laura got a good end with the people and the ribeye fat. Everybody don't have a ribeye fat like that, so
I
you'll
love
kind of
that.
do the butter, and but whatever your fat choice was. And some of the things that we are noticing is healthier, how we're feeling for one. And then I started falling into the I'm not hungry. And but that's not for me personally. That's not good for me personally. If you follow my story, that is like, no, I got to put something in me. Um, so that satiety that you get, it reduces any cravings that you have. Today, I've been venturing off with lamb fat versus the ribeye fat. I've been doing lamb fat, and I had a fat people moment, and let me tell you why. Because all while we were talking, I said that lamb fat was really good. So I think tomorrow I'm gonna mix ribeye fat. Yeah, that's the meal I was over here planning. I'm sorry. It's like I want to know. I even saved the fat that I fried the the lamb in, that I'm gonna fry for tomorrow. I have saved that to that's going to be the start, because I'm telling you, it's life changing. I too can walk through whatever and not
Yeah.
see a carbohydrate. Or I remember the chips. Oh my god, I call them a medium size. They went up to $1.99, and then they were $2.49, and I'm like, oh my god, the bag is not getting bigger. You putting less chips and you raising the price. But we were addicted to, because you just can't eat one.
oh, yep.
You
Yes,
just
indeed.
can't eat one. And yeah, so uh you really have to cut that out, and make a stance. I know I say you can stick a spoon down in some apple cider vinegar, pop it on your tongue, whatever
Mhm.
you thought you wanted. I bet you won't want anymore. It just won't even taste the same. You won't even think the same. And you can go on from there. Your hormonal response to fat, uh that's another one I'm gonna cover. Incorporating more fat into your carnivore meals, that's where I'm talking about this butter comes into play normally. And we even show a picture, or turn on and say, hey, this is what I'm eating, this is the fat that I'm putting in, this is what it is that I'm doing. We show it for and just we feel good that you're taking that fat in. All right. Another thing, of course, your electrolytes, which is something else that we talked about, and being consistent. And a lot of times, sometimes people misinterpret dehydration for hunger. You're
Yeah.
really thirsty.
Yep.
And a lot of times you will put food in cases like that. So let me just I'm going to read this off. Fat helps keep you fuller longer. All right, by providing uh, and sustaining your energy levels, reducing the likelihood of even having a craving throughout the day. That's why a lot of people can only do one meal.
Yeah.
They'll do one meal because you're not hungry. You really aren't. And you've put in your body what it needs. So I'm saying try to incorporate more fats into your meals, whether it is the fat that you're cooking with, adding a little extra, and getting the fattier cuts. Your electrolytes are important. Having those balances. I was listening, they say, well, if you're craving something salty, you're probably low on salt, where they're telling you not to add salt. I never understood the canned good with all the sodium, and then But when I just take that can and put it in the pot and didn't add seasoning to it, those green beans was horrible. So I don't understand that whole process. So I'm not confused anymore. It just makes sense that if I leave this meat out on the counter and it's not cooked, it's going to rot. I shouldn't eat that. When I eat, my body is breaking that meat down. There's no preservatives, there's none of that. I feel so much better. You guys, I almost ate an entire pork loin yesterday by myself. I had dehydrated it, right? If you look on my site, I have
Yep.
I freeze it, slice it up. After that, I made butter sandwiches with that meat. I had two pieces. I plapped on at least two big pats of butter,
Yep.
put the other piece on there, and I was sitting there just eating it. Before you knew it,
And it looks so good. I'm
my
like
baby, it
so
really was.
jealous.
My
I
mouth is
want
literally
some.
watering now thinking about it. And I'm sad because I ate it and I don't have any more. All right, next thing. My consistency. I love the fact that I look forward to being consistent. Y'all better hear what I just said. I look forward to being consistent. Consistency now can put a smile on my face. See, we've fallen so many times in the past. That's another reason why your family don't want to follow you. You ain't stuck with nothing. Every time you turn around, you go, look, here you on social media. Ooh, I'm starting this walk, y'all. I'd say to myself, let me mark my calendar 2 weeks later. I'll no longer see those things because you gave up. Because that stuff is hard. It's 80% of the food. Go on out there and do your 20% walk. It could be 20 minutes. Okay, get your movement, but it's the food. So you want to go, and all of a sudden, I look at this and can't wait to finish this water. Right. And it's like, oh my God, I got through like, 2 or 3 of these versus, oh Lord, I still got some of that smoothie I made. That stuff is it's just kind of thick. Then somebody say, well, add this to it or add that to it. And there you study adding stuff, which what you really want to add is some Kool-Aid to it. And so you can drink it, doggone it, because it just tastes nasty. But you hanging in there. Wrong consistency, y'all. Wrong consistency. Your dehydration. I did not realize most of us, I'm not a professional. I taught myself this statement that I'm getting ready to give you. I know at least 65 to 70% of the people walking around are dehydrated.
100%. Yes, that is true.
I know. It is like, and I kind of made that up. Why? Because I thought I was drinking enough. So what are some things? Your urine. They just tell you, it's like, look at that. No, you can actually have decent color urine after you done drank all of those Cokes and all that other stuff. So your body is gonna like, you got to get rid of it because you're chugging it in. We've already said how much sugar should be in your body. You're overriding that, and we all wonder why we're not feeling good, or we are y'all, I'm watching this y'all know I like to do cruises. I don't feel she will ever see this part of this video, so I'm gonna say that I don't think she will ever see this part. She was talking about she went to the doctor and she had some swelling in her legs, and then the doctor said, have you been on a cruise ship? And she's like, yeah. And she said, oh, yeah, that water on the ship has salt in it, right? So my husband's sitting there and we heard that. We just kind of looked at each other. Now we've tasted the water. We didn't taste any salt, but this must be some miraculous something that's going down in regards to, okay, fine. But see, I've also seen the video and I've seen the 3 desserts. And I've seen all this other stuff. That's what got you the swelling. But it was easier to cut out salt water, which I've never heard of. But it was easier to cut that out than all these other things. that's actually harming you.
The sugar is so addictive. It's
I
like,
know.
it's easy to point at sodium or something like that
Mm-hmm.
instead of say, I'm eating way too much sugar. How many people do you hear say that? Oh, I'm just eating too
I know.
much
Wait a minute.
sugar.
Hold on.
Nobody says that.
No, wait a minute. In her defense, it was one of those where that she had talked about the ice cream. She said, "Oh, I just keep getting that one ice cream. I get y'all. Listen, I'm gonna do better." We say this so much. We say it jokingly. We talk about how much we ate and unbutton our pants and had to sit back. We do that and we joke about it. Y'all, if somebody came up and started joking about that you were on dialysis, would you think that was funny? You're sitting there on the machine so that's what I'm hearing when, we're joking about eating all of these different things. Y'all know I need to be on a diet. Y'all, yes, I know it, you know it, and that's the reason why you're saying it. And we're normalizing it, and it's not normal. That was not meant for our bodies at all. And so the last thing I want to share with you guys, we have some great success stories. I am not kidding. I think one of the best things that we did as a group here on this channel was start that membership that we did outside of here, because it even helps me. That it does. I love the fact, and everybody kind of says the same thing. The turnaround. It's literally, it's like you ask a question and it don't take long for the answer to come across or anything like that. And they have blessed me. I see. I've added some different things from what people are sharing. Now everybody is putting ghee in their coffee. It's like yeah. I even took mine. Wait a minute, girl. I took mine. I did not get rid of all of the impurities when I poured it over into the bowl. I got rid of some, but not all. So I'm excited. I can't wait for in the morning or I turn around and get that big plop and see how great that's gonna taste.
I just have to share this, G, because my family came over and I let them try the ghee coffee.
Yay.
Oh my goodness. They all were like, "Oh, that's so good. That's so good." Yes.
Right.
Drink that, fat ladies.
That's it.
Right.
That is it. Well,
Start
listen,
your
if y'all
day.
have some questions or something like that, let's get over it. Y'all, episode 50 down. Go ahead.
I know it.
Any questions that you
We
guys
do have
want?
some questions. We do
Ahead.
have some questions in the chat. So Sherry, let me pop it up. Sherry is asking, is any one of you we talked about this last week, familiar with urine therapy? It's very powerful as a modality to healing and regaining health.
No, that was a question from last week.
Is that the same question from last week?
Yeah, that was last
Well,
week.
I need to unstar that.
I
Okay.
I don't see
Sorry.
that in the stars. Yeah.
Okay, I see it here in my stars. Okay, I'm gonna let
Yeah,
you bring
me too.
the stars up.
Oh, wait a minute. So
Yeah, it's in mine too.
Is
I don't
Sherry?
see
Is
it.
Sherry here? Is Sherry? If you're here, just say hey, and we'll come back to your question if you are actually asking that question today.
Okay, well, I haven't seen the animals out peeing on each other.
So I can say this. I have heard of, and she mentioned this at the end of last week's show. I have heard of using a baby's pee diaper to wipe their tongue when they have thrush. So I have heard of that. And I have heard of using a baby's own pee diaper on eczema. So those two things I have heard of. But other than that, I have not heard about it as any. I just haven't heard of it in
Okay, so for me, I know we talked about like putting something in the eardrop and all of that. I wouldn't trust a diaper is one thing versus a disposable diaper. So hopefully no one is doing that because you got all
not
the
a pamper,
right?
but a cloth diaper.
Yeah, a cloth diaper.
And it's the baby's own urine, so it's not like,
please don't start sharing yours and all of that. And I'm not listen. The same way I tell people, you are now thinking about food. Find your path. if people are thinking about a natural homeopathic way, go right ahead. If you know, if that's the route. Me personally, I only know like kinky stuff with pee, urine. That's the only part. I did not say I was participating. I did not tell our secrets. I'm just saying that, you know, because it's something that your body is getting rid of. So things that your body getting rid of, your tears, your the mucus, the
Mucus.
boogers, your poop, your pee. I don't see reusing these things.
Well, they are like the impurities that you're getting rid of for a
Right.
specific reason.
Right. And
Yeah.
so then now I go back to, like I said, the ancestors and stuff like that. There's some stuff I just didn't see. But I wouldn't put it past anybody on doing anything. But if it worked for you,
Go for it.
I'm good for it. I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not shying on anybody's nothing. But I actually asked a follow-up question with this one. No, it wasn't this one, it was a different one. I didn't know what
Okay.
type of liver that they were asking about.
I
Yeah,
have
so
had some people reach out to me about this actually. And I
Is
do
it
in the
think
regular
store.
liver or
Mhm.
chicken liver?
it's beef
Beef
liver.
liver. Mhm. I've
Yes.
seen it in the stores, but when I purchase my liver from my local farmer, local rancher, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me too. But I've had people reach out that said they were buying it. I think it was Costco, but I could be wrong. But I think both of them said Costco liver.
Okay.
That when they bought it, that when they got it, and it wasn't frozen, like it was just in the meat case. And when they got it home, that the consistency was different. So that always makes me think same thing as Simpson. What have they been fed? Are they grain fed the entire time? Because I don't care if my cows are grass fed in the beginning and the last 6 weeks they have grain. That's fine. I'm not going to be like Barry says, they're not panda massaged, you know, that's okay. But I try to avoid cows that have been corn fed their entire life because I do think that has something to do with that.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Who you
So
clicking?
Oaktown Girl, I think I got in the middle of her conversation, but she said, I think having joined a carnivore support group from the start is the reason for my success so far.
I'm
And I
telling
think
you,
it's amazing.
especially if you're doing this alone. Oh my goodness. And let me tell you, it's like we have meetups every day. You don't have to explain the added fat. You don't have nobody's in there asking you about your cholesterol, none of that stuff. Cholesterol is not a disease, but let's keep
No, it
going.
is not.
No.
All right, let me go to the
Can I
next
tell a
one.
real short story real quick?
Of
Mhm.
course.
So I had a new patient I admitted today who had a 7-way bypass, not a quad,
Ooh.
not a 5, a 7-way bypass. Been vegetarian, eats country crock, hadn't had a real egg, hadn't had any of this stuff in so long, and of course is on simvastatin and fenofibrate, which is another medicine to lower cholesterol. And his wife goes, well, he won't take that because it hurts his joints and his muscles. And I said, oh, okay. And she goes, well, you have to tell him to take it. And I said, no, ma'am. I said, the patient has the right to refuse anything. And I said, just sit here and think about this. Just this snapshot of your husband's life. He is 70 years old. He has put none of these things in the body that they tell you cause you to have all these issues. How did he end up having to have 7 arteries bypassed because they were full of calcium? How did that happen? She goes, she literally sat there for a minute and she goes, I should be getting real butter. And I said, yes, you should.
Right. 100%.
And eggs.
I know.
And so he's going to be starting on that. And it made my heart very happy. I just was like, yep, okay. Because you have to be kind of careful with a patient that is, you know, undergoing that. But I just was like, oh, exactly. Come on, think about it.
Yeah.
All right, let's read this one.
Hey, Charlie.
Yeah, so Dr. Berry would say it's not your fault, carb addiction. I know, but it is your problem. Yep, great pieces of advice. Thanks.
Thanks, Charlie.
Yes. Yes. All right. What's this one? Your turn, somebody. Because
For the
I
first
want
2
these
years of
last
my
two.
keto
That's just too
journey,
funny.
I drank 30 ounces of coffee with a mix of butter and coconut oil. Bulletproof coffee, yes. 165 grams of fat, 1,100 calories. I drank this every day for about 2 years, and it was huge for me. The fat it's the key. It's
It
the key.
is.
Laura's been trying to tell us. She was trying to tell me for about what, 8 or 9 months?
For a little while.
Oh shoot, I
It's okay.
accidentally unstarred it. I meant to hit it and hit the star. Okay, but I want to talk about this one right here. Okay,
Right,
because
Susan.
she said that she missed it. Yes, that was a comment from last week. I don't know why they still see. You know why, guys? We didn't unstar it and we come back into
Oh,
the same one. That
gotcha,
is
gotcha.
probably why. Yeah.
Mhm.
But she says that heard of athlete's foot and like you should pee in the
Yes.
shower. I do not have athlete's foot because I do pee in the shower.
There you go.
Well, I heard that like if you get stung by a jellyfish, you should pee on it.
That is true. That is
I did
true.
hear
Wait,
that.
wait. When are we peeing? Are we trying to pee on the jellyfish so he like don't bother you? Or
No,
you
you
peeing
peeing
in
on
the ocean?
yourself.
You peeing on
You want
yourself.
to pee where he stung you.
Right.
Mm.
Where you're
Yeah.
stung.
Okay, so we'll see.
Oh my
See,
gosh.
there we go.
So let me just say this. Urine therapy, also known as urotherapy, is the practice of using urine for medicinal or cosmetic purposes. There is no scientific evidence to support the health claims of urine therapy. So here, I'm going to give you this caveat because I think like the AI would say something similar about the carnivore diet, and we know that the carnivore diet is amazing. So I'm not going to discount it necessarily, but as I said last week, I don't think it's for me. I mean, unless I come across something that's like, oh yeah, a little urine will help with this. But for
I
now,
will not be
Wonderful.
adding
I'm
this to
good.
my
I'm
coffee,
good.
honey. Okay, Sharon. Yes. 7
So
days
we
a week.
meet 24/7 every single day we meet. So let me tell you kind of what we do in the group. So I come in, I am your motivator. So I come in and I give you a motivational moment in the morning to get you started on your day. Laura comes in, she talks about all the exercise she's doing, and I'm ashamed for myself because she's beating us all out on the exercise tip, but she's also there as she isn't a medical practitioner. So she's got lots of great medical advice for us. And like if you need something
Homeopathic.
specific that's specific to you that you really want to talk to her about, you can always go and sign up to have a meeting with her. But there's lots of questions that get asked in our group. And we all come in and answer them. And Laura comes in and backs us up with the medical. And then G is our coach. So she's telling us what are the challenges that we're going to do, what exercise we're going to do. She is definitely there to coach us through this lifestyle. So we all have our own strengths that we're bringing to the group. And then we have an amazing group of ladies that are in the group. And so it's just really, really fantastic. Now we do have a group for men, but men, y'all are not showing up.
No.
We're here to support you as well. That would be a separate group, especially for men only. But you know, we haven't really started that yet because where y'all at, man? Where y'all at?
Yeah. Get out there and do
once again, that's where we as a group we increased our fat intake. We did that together. You have somebody cheering you on. You know, you just do. And I think I love when they say, y'all just get me. Your quirkiness, your we get you. Yeah, you get to be you and you know, so find your tribe. That's all I can say. So how would you find us? You can join us through any of our any of our sites. And actually we all give us a moment to make sure, because I know I didn't. We can have the link in the description. So however you're watching the video, it doesn't matter. If whoever you come in under, you still get all three of us. Plain and simple. Yep. We come as a pair.
Yeah. As a trifecta. We're a trifecta.
Yeah, there you are. We are.
Get all three of us, and it is called, and mine is called Carnivore Life 24/7. The link is in my description box below. So
both of
I'm
theirs
sure that
are. Mine ain't.
But she gonna put it over there for you, so for your convenience.
Yes.
So we do have a couple other questions that are popping up here. First of all, and put this up. Dustin. Yay. We're so happy. I know that there are men here with us and we appreciate you, but if you want to be in our Lions Carnivore Lifestyle group, you go to whoever you're here under, you go to theirs and you sign up for the Lions Carnivore group. So there's a question here about your deviled eggs. What deviled eggs did you do?
I did exactly the ones that in our Marco Polo group, Sandra was showing them.
Don't share it. They got to be in the group to get it. There you go.
I'm just going to say, well, Tara is in our group though.
Tara's in our group.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay, Tara, my bad. Girl, in the group.
Sandra put it up there. And I think Sandra's here. So Sandra, could you just go back and put that up again so you don't have to go back a million Marco Polos to find it? Yeah.
I will tell you that, everybody was like, oh my God, those are so amazing. So yes. So I just did the recipe that she told us about. And calories? Nope. And if you've gained a little bit of weight, I gained 10 pounds when I first started this. It's because you still have healing that you need to do. Once you get all of those things taken care of, your body does release the fat. So it will come off. I promise you. There is no such thing as a calorie because inside our body, nowhere in our body gets hot as it would take to combust a fat, a protein, or a carbohydrate. Remember back to biology when you put it on the Bunsen burner. You had to turn it up, blue flame to do anything. There is nothing inside us. Enzymes are what break down the food, and that's how that works. So I think you'll get there.
This is what
doesn't matter
for 2 years. Yeah.
I still had trouble even up into my 5th year. And I'm strict carnivore, but I literally still had that. And I don't know what size you are.
Or even what are you eating on a day-to-day basis? You know, how often are you eating? There's a lot of questions and factors that come into what's going on with your body. It's difficult to answer it without having a conversation about what it is that you're eating.
And your hormones.
And then, hormones, like exercise, all the things, because there is a little bit of exercise that you need. It's like an 80-20, right? 80% what you eat, 20% your movement. So, definitely, you might, if you're insulin resistant, Cat Diamond, you might need to eliminate the vegetables. I'm sorry. You really might, like if you have metabolic syndrome, and I want to say this, Dr. Ovadia is coming back on my channel on Thursday. He said, if you have metabolic syndrome, you may need to eliminate those vegetables because
I was somebody that could eat broccoli, just a couple heads out of my garden, just with butter. And then I'd do the keto mojo because I had the glucometer and I had the ketone one. And I could go up 250 to 300 points after eating just broccoli with butter because I was metabolically still not correct.
Right. Yep.
All
right, you guys.
Thank you. Next week is our last episode before we get to our 1 year mark.
About to say what?
It's almost a year, guys. Yeah, so this is episode 50 down, 51, and then we are celebrating. Oh yes. I'm babe, I probably have my top hat on. I don't know. I might have to dress up. I don't know. I'm coming in to cut up. Yeah, we're coming in to cut up and have a good time. All right. So it will be some, as I call, mindless entertainment. Okay. There we are.
Yes.
So until then, oh wait, did something else pop up? We good? Our hearts and minds clear.
Wait. My heart and mind is not clear yet. I have to say this.
Yeah.
Dr. Ovadia is coming on Carnivorous Grandma Speaks on Thursday at 4:00 p.m. Eastern.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Bella, Steak and Butter Gal, is coming on Carnivorous Grandma Speaks Women of Wisdom series on Saturday evening at 5:30 p.m.
Yay.
Eastern. So come and meet
Oh,
those two.
MG. Yeah, all right. What about you, Laura?
I am working on some new products. I had made some arthritis oil and some like the dermatitis. So like for seborrheic dermatitis, and have sold out both times I've made those. So I'm going to make a larger supply of those. I sold out actually in my town. Like one lady heard
Wow.
it, and I literally had people coming to my door, and I was like, "What? Hello?
Oh, I know.
Hello?
This
Hello?"
ain't no store.
They
I
didn't
know. I
know.
was
That's
like,
all right. They didn't know.
Yeah.
Girl, let me send you an open and close sign. You have to let them
Right.
know we are closed today. Do not
Yeah.
knock on my
Yeah.
door. That is so cool. Well, Wednesday, Leah and I will continue to tell our story of how we damaged our bodies prior to the carnivore diet. And y'all, I told you about the sous vide that we did, and that video is coming out. That's all I can say about that. I hope, because they're paid, that it's a paid promotion one, but I know when they get this video, they're gonna say to themselves, "What did we just do?"
I know it's going to be
My
good. I can't
reviews,
wait to see it.
I know my reviews, everything is just different. I am not kidding. I don't know. I was born like that. So in the meantime and in between time, you work your thing and I work mine. We will see you next week. Bye.